30 seconds to put your question.
Thanks, Minister. The unemployment rate in the South East between Q1 17 and Q1 18 fell from 7.9% to 7.2%. I'd like to know how much of that reduction is down to job creation and how much of it is down to individuals leaving the region's labour force through factors such as migration or retirement. Do you know if the number of people working in the region increased or decreased in that period, and if so, by how much?
I love it when I can answer a question exactly the way you want me to answer it. So, the peak of unemployment rate in the region was estimated in the South East to be about 19%, but the most recent official data from the Labour Force Survey showed that at the end of the second quarter this year to the beginning of August, you're right, it is down to 7.2%. As compared to the same year last year, Deputy, the employment in the region has risen by 6,100. The labour force in the region has increased even faster by 8,400 people. So that unemployment rose by about 2,400 over the year, with the unemployed rate rising. This should obviously mean the employment rate, I apologise. The rate rising from 6.4 to 7.2. The figures for the single quarter at the regional level can be volatile, and that's why the Labour Force Survey is a sample survey and therefore subject to sampling error, because over the longer period since the recovery began in 2012, employment in the South East is up by almost 33,000, with the labour force increasing by 15,000 and unemployment decreasing by 18,000. Migration estimates are published by the state level only, so it's not possible to identify specifically in your own county. However, the data quoted indicates that the reduction in unemployment is not attributable to the reduction in the labour force. The Government's primary strategies to tackle unemployment since 2012 is twofold. First of all, we have the Action Plan for Jobs, which is led by Minister Enterprise, and all of the regional action plans that we have that we can see that are yielding results, working with the IDA and the local enterprise boards. But secondly, the Pathways to Work. My department ensures that as many new jobs and vacancies are filled by people on the live register. We actually have a tremendous relationship, and it's growing, particularly because the workers or the employers can't find people when they have their standard job fairs are going through recruitment agencies. Our relationships are growing. There's more pilot and targeted projects being worked on and developed, not least of which is the YES project, which is being launched this week. Things are getting better, and in actual fact, the employment numbers are not matching the people in employment. The people in employment are higher in most of the regions around the county than they are the numbers that are dropping on the unemployment register.
Thanks, Minister. Listen, there's always issues about figures in here, as we heard a lot about overhousing in the last while. But Minister, I'm just wondering, are you aware of the South East Economic Monitor? I don't know if you read it, but the latest edition was published a couple of months ago. It's a publication that provides an analysis of the regional economy carried out by independent, non-politically affiliated academics. So it's independent of your department's interpretation and independent of my interpretation of what might be happening in Wexford or the South East. One of the points they make is that between Q1 17 and Q1 18, the number of people in work increased 62,000 nationally, but in the South East, they maintain that the number actually decreased. There were 2,400 fewer people working in the South East in that period, and that therefore the so-called reduction in unemployment is accounted for primarily by individuals leaving the region's labour force. Minister, obviously, if that's true, I mean, it's a pretty worrying thing. I don't know if you're familiar with those statistics and what you might have to say about them.
Thanks, Deputy.
I'm not, right, but what I'll do is I will make myself familiar with them later on and come back to you and either refute them or if they can be substantiatable, then obviously we have more work to do. But my figures are showing me that the amount of people that were taken off the live register is actually less than the amount of new people employed in the county. And that either means that people who weren't on the live register actively seeking jobs decided to take up the jobs that were being created, or people are actually moving to Wexford to take up the jobs. But either way, I'll come back to you later on this afternoon with regard to clarification on the report that you've just cited.
Thanks. Minister, while the South East makes up 9% of the state's population, only 3% of the IDA jobs created over the last 7 years have actually been in the South East. Only 2.2% of the Ireland 2040 capital investment in higher education is due to be spent in the South East. I mean, I know the Wexford is different again, but I can get the live register figure for Wexford, and in July it was 15.5%. Wexford is by far the worst off of those counties in the South East region. And, Minister, I honestly think that the statistics actually bear out the fact that we're one of the top 3 most deprived counties in the country at the moment. And I do think that there's a real need for cross-party cooperation to actually address it. I do think that there's a need for some really proactive work across the departments to actually change that. Wexford has been a deprived county for a long time, and it's directly linked to the fact that we have the highest suicide rate in the country for the last 3 years. Mental health challenges and deprivation are very strongly linked, as you know. I'm just wondering, Minister, is the notion that there would be that cross-party cooperation, that they would look at actually the realities of Wexford and what's happening, and might there be an appetite to actually just, it didn't start with your government. Umpteen governments have actually failed to do this, but I honestly think it would be a powerful exercise on the part of your government if you did it.
Thank you, Deputy. Final comment, Minister.
I would have thought, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, is that the Southern Regional Action Plan for Jobs and the task force that was around that could be that body or that mechanism that you would be able to feed into. If it's not, then maybe we'll have to look at it and I'll come back to you on it. But from my own department, which is the only thing I can say and take responsibility for, we have a tremendous amount of supports available in Wexford, recognising that it is lagging a little bit behind the rest of the county. We have 40 activation case officers looking after the people on the live register. We have a number of training initiatives that have been developed with the Wexford and the Waterford regional and educational training boards, and a wide variety of courses to go to. We have the Tourist Nua offices down there that are helping people find the real jobs that are being created. So I think what we need to do maybe is just to specifically focus in, both from a Department of Business and a Department of Social Protection, on your area and come back to you. And if there are black spots or real deficits, then maybe we can sit down together and work on something in the future. But I'd be happy to do that.